Turgeon. I'm the Student Services Coordinator at Capital Area Technical Center here in Augusta, Maine. I'm joined today with a special guest, Phil Allen. He is a senior from Erskine Academy, enrolled in our Machine Tool with Welding program, and he has actually been selected as Professional of the Month this month of January for all the good work that he does every day in his program. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. You're in Machine Tool with Welding program.
I am.
And I have the hardest time kind of explaining that to students that might not know what it's all about. Could you take a stab at it for me since you're living it every day?
Sure. Basically what I do in the program is Mr. Nettle gives me a print and it has a part, and I take that from a theoretical world and I take raw stock and I turn that into something in the real world.
So, explain, what kind of parts are you making? Give us an example of, a type of part you would make in there.
So right now I'm working on a C-clamp. So I'm doing the body of the clamp on the mill, and then I'm doing the threads and all the tapers for the clamp on the lathe right now.
Oh, wow. Wow, that sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Who knew that to make a part would be so intricate?
Yep.
You know, I think we take that kind of stuff for granted.
And it's all precise down to 1/1000 of an inch.
So 1/1000 of an inch, you're talking about the width of your hair, just about.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. And parts need to be made that precise to get them all to fit and work.
Yep.
Amazing, amazing. So students are signing up right now in their high schools for programs for next year. What type of student do you see, being successful in the program?
Any student who's a hard worker and willing to apply themselves will definitely succeed in the program.
You mentioned, what about needing to know a lot about math and science? Is that?
As long as you can do basic math, you go over fractions at the start of the year. As long as you're willing to try, you can pick it up pretty easy.
Excellent. It sounded pretty complicated at first, but you're saying that it is doable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Interesting. It always amazes me. I don't know how to use any of the machines down there, and it's too bad we're not down in the shop so people could see them. They certainly look intimidating.
Yeah, they can be.
Yeah.
There's a lot to learn.
Which is why it's a year-long program, at least. Right. And some students can take it 2 years, and then they can go on to post-secondary school for more. Yeah, so it definitely sounds like a lot to it. So let me ask you this question: if you could machine anything for anybody, what would you machine, and who would you give it to?
I would machine a part for my dad. I do tie rod sleeves, which would go on the tie rods on his truck, just because he's helped me out through education, and he's really fueled a lot of the passion I have for mechanics and stuff like that.
Now, how big would a tie rod be?
Probably about like that.
About a foot?
Yep.
Oh, excellent. I didn't know how big they were. I definitely have heard of them. So what do you do when you're not in school?
I'd say I'm a gearhead crossed with a trout bum. So fly fishing and working on my truck.
Oh, I love it. We live in Central Maine, so that sounds like good things to be doing in Central Maine.
Yep.
So are you, what are you doing on your truck right now when you say you have anything going on it right now?
I just finished installing new fuel injectors, and I had a custom tune downloaded on the engine control module.
Wow. Amazing. Now, did you learn any of that stuff here, or this stuff you pick up other places?
I'd say most of that I picked up outside of school.
Very cool. And I think with the stuff you learn in Machine Tool, you're going to be able to do even more, like you say, make the tie rods and...
Sure. Yep, because all those parts came from a machine shop originally.
It's amazing what we just take for granted. Yeah, a lot of opportunities too here in Central Maine for that type of work. What are your plans for after graduation?
After graduation, I plan on going to University of Maine Orono for mechanical engineering.
Oh, excellent. So I always think that people that have a background. I mean, you're going to be, as an engineer, you're going to be designing things for people that are doing machining right now, right?
Sure. Yep.
And I think that you'll have more respect having had your hands, in on it and know how to do that, rather than just be the engineer that kind of thinks he knows it all, but you'll have actually experienced it. So I think that That is really this has been a great background for that. Is there anything in specific you want to do with your mechanical engineering?
I'd want to work on diesels and anything to do with hydraulics.
Wow, that is very cool. I hope you keep in touch with us and so we can see where you end up, because I think it'll be very interesting. And you can't have a better school here than in engineering than University of Maine Orono. I mean, great engineering school, top of the line in the country. So congratulations on that. That's not easy to get into.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us today. I appreciate it. And congratulations on your Student of the Month.
Thank you.
My next guest has also been selected as a Professional of the Month. Professionals of the Month are selected with a lot of input from their instructors. I want to read about this next guest so you can see what his instructor had to say about him. This is a second-year Culinary Arts student from Monmouth Academy. He is a natural leader in the kitchen. I can confidently call upon him to act as my sous chef. His patience and humility is perfect for working closely with inexperienced first-year students. I can always count on him to be positive, dependable, and focused no matter the challenge. Students like him never settle for good. They want to be the best. His passion is infectious, and you can really see it in his performance. I've enjoyed having him in my class and can't wait to see him thrive in the food service industry. Next guest, I'm joined by Evan Hasenfus. He is a senior at Monmouth Academy, enrolled for the second year in our Culinary Arts program. Welcome, Evan. Thanks for joining me. You're in the culinary. Oh, you're welcome. You're in the Culinary Arts program for the second year. Could you tell us a little bit about what it's like to be in that program?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of hands-on instruction, which, I mean, that definitely works for most of the people in the kitchen. And she also does visual demonstrations of the techniques. So really, unless the only way you can learn is from a textbook, you'll fit right in the class. It's great.
It does look pretty active. Like every time I come in, I know there is some written work that you guys do, but there's a lot of it's a lot of hands-on.
Yeah, there's quarterly assessments and there's a few tests on paper at the beginning, but after you get through those and once you get all the certifications for food handling, it's really, you're in the kitchen every day, you're making something. It's usually pretty delicious.
So you get to sample what you make is what you're telling me.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll end up just taking it home, depending on what it is. If chef doesn't have a plan for it, or if it's not for a specific thing, we can just take it home.
Because I mean, I bet you've tried some new foods being in there that you hadn't tried before.
Yeah, I have. My first year we made beef Wellington. I'd never tried that. Later on in the year, we're going to be making sushi. I've never tried sushi. It definitely opens up like your experience of food.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. I learn stuff when I go in there all the time. Like the other day, you guys were making cream puffs, but she didn't call it that. She called the dough something else that I can't remember now. What was it called?
Pâte à choux.
Pâte à choux, yes. So I learned something too going in there. So students right now, they're at their high schools and they're thinking about classes to take next year. What's your advice? What kind of student would do well in the Culinary Arts program?
Well, I mean, I think it would be one that would be driven and motivated by food. Like, you definitely have to care about food. And I've seen what happens when people don't care about the food they're making in this industry, and it looks and tastes awful. Because you just don't care, and you don't care how it comes out. So it has to be someone who's driven and motivated to make good food and really wants to see that good food, be enjoyed.
I think you're right. We probably all can relate to sometime we've been out and not enjoyed our meal that has been prepared for us, for sure. So let me ask you a question. If you could cook a meal for anyone, who would you cook for and what would you make?
I think I would have to say Gordon Ramsay because he's one of the best, and I'm always looking for ways that I can improve on my own skill. And even if he does call me an idiot sandwich or something, I mean, I still have that experience. And I could still say I cooked a steak for Gordon Ramsay.
Well, you are very brave, I think. Hopefully, maybe someday you'll be a contestant on Hell's Kitchen.
That would be a great opportunity.
That would be very cool. So when you're not in school, how do you spend your time, Evan?
Usually I'm spending it, sometimes I am cooking outside of class. I make myself breakfast every morning. I'll help with dinner occasionally. But when I'm not in the kitchen, I'm usually working at Hannaford.
Oh, excellent. So it sounds like you really have a passion for cooking, which brings me kind of to my next question. What do you plan on doing after you graduate this spring?
Well, I was just accepted to Johnson & Wales down in Rhode Island for a 2-year program in baking and pastry. And I hope to be able to get the money together to actually go. It is a very expensive school, but I got some scholarships from the school. I'm applying for more scholarships, financial aid. So I'm really hoping to be able to go down there, and otherwise I'll probably end up going to Southern Maine Community College for baking and pastry.
Well, I think each of those choices are wonderful. Congratulations on your acceptance at Johnson & Wales. That's a great accomplishment. So baking and pastry chef, and then do you have an ultimate goal, what you would do with that knowledge?
I'd like to open up my own establishment at some point. Probably not right away, but at some point I would like to be the owner of a place where you can go to get really good food. And I was actually talking with one of my classmates recently. We were thinking of at some point opening up a food truck.
Oh, I hope that you end up back in central Maine. I think we need we have some good establishments in the area, but I think we could always use some more.
Maine always needs more good places to get food than right on the coast.
Yes, for sure. Well, Evan, we're doing this interview kind of remotely because your school is out with COVID, and miss having you here for sure. And I'm sure you miss being here, but I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me over the Google Meet so we can share this information with other people, what the great things going on. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.